Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. Welcome again to AI 15, where every day, every weekday, we're going to get something done with AI, get perform a task. And the thought behind this is we do a little bit every day, little 15-minute, and by Christmas, you'll be really up to speed. It's like almost like doing a whole day's worth of a course, but you're just kind of taking it in small little bits. Um, so my name is Matthew Kershaw. I'm your host. I've got 20 plus years in content media and marketing, six in the AI space, working mostly for a AI video startup called DID. And I help businesses build modern production and marketing engines, help their teams use AI practically and safely, structure those messy workflows, and build a roadmap to quality, speed, and cost. But enough about me, as usual. Um, Today's session is all about checking that your content aligns with your brand guidelines. It's a really important topic because that alignment gives you clarity. Your message will be easy to understand because it's all consistent. Give you cut through because it makes you more recognizable. You understand what you're getting quicker, and also it makes you more credible because behaving in a steady, predictable way means people can feel like they can trust you. So it's important for brands, and it's also important, I think, for the people on this call because if you're a brand, you need to be checking on your output, making sure you and your team are sort of doing the right job. If you're a consultant, freelancer, it can be, doing one of these checks can be a calling card, a way into talking to a brand. Hey, I've done this check, it's not working out for you. How can I help? And obviously, if you're an agency, this is exactly the sort of thing you want to put in your pitch for. Oh, we've noticed that your tone of voice in your ads isn't great. That's why we should be talking to you. So really, really super important. I'm going to walk through just a few things. So I'm going to assume that, you've got some brand guidelines written down. That's kind of assumed. Going to show you how to extract text from those samples and actually a little bit of image later as well, and check it for consistency. And I've taken as my test Monzo just because Monzo have a really, really well written tone of voice document. It's available on their website. It's pages and pages long, and it's very, very specific. So I took that as the test. And next thing I did was just found loads of examples, as many as I could. I kind of tried to sign up to Monzo. Fortunately, my daughter's with Monzo. She sent me a bunch of screenshots. It's all a bit of a mess, and you go, what are you going to do with all this text? Because it's a bit of a nightmare to kind of copy and paste it into a document. Well, luckily, step one was just getting the AI to do that for us. So in this case, I used Gemini, but certainly ChatGPT could do it. Gemini is the Google chatbot, and the prompt was very, very simple. Extract the text from these Monzo communications and put them in a table with the following headings: type of communication, headline, body text, and said type of communication twice. And you can see I'm being pretty loose here. I didn't even spell the properly. I'm giving you a bit of jargon here as well for you to use kind of as and when you need to, which is OCR. OCR stands for, it's not the OC TV fans, it's OCR, which is optical character recognition. In other words, being able to extract text from, a visual. And the LLMs all have these. People don't realize it. So anyway, what did that get me? That got me a lovely spreadsheet with all the text on it, nicely, nicely laid out in a table. And then this prompt will be in the replay on the website later, but act as my brand consistency auditor, be meticulous. The audience is marketing professionals. Here are my brand and tone guidelines attached, the document I'd taken from Monzo. Here is the text I want you to review. You would upload your spreadsheet with all the Monzo copy on it and compare the text against the guidelines. Give me a short review that covers alignment, whether the tone matches brand voice, where it drifts, how clear the message is, including any confusing parts or gaps that weaken a value proposition. So I ran that. I'm not going to do that now because it sort of takes a little while. But the answer came back, and on my scoring mechanic, Monza get 76 out of 100. Now I think the bot was being a little bit harsh. I did tell it to be meticulous, so I actually think this is quite a good result for Monza. There are no reds here; they're all medium on high, so that's pretty good. Let me show you a couple of examples of that. So this one, Serious Flex. It said here, oh, you've got headline pun, Serious Flex. That brings warm wit. that leans on a slightly slangy phrase that may not land for everyone. Now, I think that's overly harsh because I think Monzo's audience is typically a younger audience. It's a younger bank. So I think Serious Flex probably is okay for them. They've also in this case, ChatGPT said 0% options every time is vague. Clarify what can be 0% and for how long before moving into APR and risk wording, so people understand the product at a glance. Okay, fair enough. This one it liked. Invite your friends and you'll both get £10. Warm, straightforward, benefit first. Speaks directly to the reader, keeps the tone inclusive. So I think it did a pretty good job, but I wasn't sure. Like, is it just like I needed to see a bad example to see whether it done its job. So I did a kind of slightly weird thing, which is I rewrote all of Monzo's content that was in that spreadsheet in Ryanair's tone of voice. So I won't run through this now, but I said, right, what is Ryanair's tone of voice? Give me a breakdown of it. Gave me a breakdown. Said, right, now rewrite all the content in this spreadsheet as if it's Ryanair. And obviously, you get this Ryan Zoe had a bit of fun redoing their logo. They're welcome to have that, by the way. If you're any of you work for Monzo or Ryanair, please go for it. Um, so I took that content and was like, right, well, how does this stand up against Monzo's tone of voice guidelines? And it obviously shouldn't be that great. And sure enough, it wasn't brilliant. It was actually better than I was expecting. But you're seeing, quite three real lows, significant, significantly less highs. I gave on the scoring mechanic, they got 60 out of 100. So, and some of the things they said here. So the email was bad news. Your saving rate savings is dropping, and their answer to that is no one with opens with empathy. No one likes this email, which fits Monzo well for bad news. But ending with still better than most banks, though, feels defensive and undercuts the sincerity of the message. I kind of agree with that. Um, so that was a medium one. This is a low one. Strongly at odds with the operational comms guidance. Check your email now in caps and don't make this harder than it needs to be. Sound impatient and blaming rather than kind and helpful, which is, I must say, quite Ryanair of them. So I think it's done a pretty good job here. I'd say this is something you can take and then give to your content team and say, look, here's some things we think we maybe need to improve. But what I would say is this is like good if you're doing a sample. I've picked 20 examples. I think it's hard to do it this way at scale. If you're producing thousands, I've been working with a brand at the moment. They produce 240,000 assets a year. You just couldn't do this. So there are a few apps that will do it kind of at that scale. Markup AI, Brand Guard, and Site Improve. We'll see Site Improve as well in the next section. So I'm going to give you a little bit. So that's how to do tone check for text. I'm going to show you, sort of give you a little Brucey bonus, which is I did a similar thing, but for the visuals on your site. And for this, I looked at Canoops. I don't know if you know Canoops. They're a hot chocolate brand. They have shops. They're sort of like the Starbucks of hot chocolate, I suppose. But the reason I chose them is they have an online e-commerce offering, but it's not thousands and thousands of products. Like it's maybe 100 products. So it's kind of easier to do. And what I did is I used in ChatGPT, as you know, there's this thing called Agent. I don't know if anyone's used it, but if you click this little button in ChatGPT, you can tell it to go and do stuff, and it will go and scrape a website in this case and take images and analyze those images. So again, this will be in the replay, so I'm not gonna read it all. It'll be available for you later.
We have a little question, Matthew,
Yes,
in the chat
please.
window. Did you use a custom GPT or just the normal
This is
chat
just the
option?
normal GPT in this case. Yeah, it's just the regular agent. And I said, you're a visual agent and UX expert. Your job is to audit the thumbnail images across all product listings on my store. So then you put your URL in there, and you're telling it to look for text readability, white space balance, contrast, and visibility. And the step instructions are visit the store, and for each thumbnail, open it in a new tab and score it on these criteria and give me this output. Again, not time to kind of go through that in detail. Um, I did kind of take a video of it just working. It is quite bizarre to sit there for 15 minutes watching it kind of opening product pages and, you know, doing stuff. And it generated this gave me kind of basically, I think about 8 pages of content. So that becomes a nice little report for someone. It gave me a scoreboard. And so here was a good one. 24 out of 30 is okay, pretty good readability, good white space, good contrast. Their main issue was that the sideways text on the actual product itself isn't very readable and it's very small. So, I don't know how you deal with that. Maybe it's closer up. Maybe there's another, you just deal with it in a slightly different way. This was okay. An example of a bad thumbnail, and you can kind of see here, it's like, I mean, it's just obvious just looking at it without, I don't need AI to tell me this necessarily, but 19 out of 30, multiple pouches with vertical labels, small new tag, make the text hard to read, limited breathing room, terrible contrast. So I think it did a pretty good job here. What I would say is, again, there's a scale issue here. Running one of these agents within ChatGPT kind of it does reach a bit of a limit. If you're looking at a store with thousands of SKUs, then you're going to need a different answer. Our very own Ollie, who works at Neem, has a tool called Rhino, which does exactly this. Again, site improve, they're cropping up a lot. More from a brand perspective, like how is it doing what it should do? Eyeable is more about making sure that your content is accessible, that the imagery, the text is big enough in the images, that kind of thing. So that's how you do it. So that's it. Tomorrow, super exciting. We've got Matt Waller. He looks very cool here. He's a lot less serious than he looks in this image. And he said to me, we'll be attempting to produce a product film in the style of a James Bond intro live in under 15 minutes. So please do come back for that. I'll see you tomorrow. Unless anyone has any other questions, please use this QR code to, I'd love to hear ideas of things you want to see, feedback even, potential presenters, and obviously please do tell your friends about these sessions because I think they're really useful. Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow.
Cheers.